Well, the summer garden's wrapping up, but the fall garden is really kicking off. Hey folks, welcome back to the Rock and Sea Homestead. My name's Lance. I want to welcome you to our channel. And the summer garden is wrapping up. Victory Garden 2020, like I said, is getting pretty close to the end. But the fall portion of it is just starting to kick off here. And let's show you what we have going on with the summer garden, and then we'll wrap up with the fall. So we're up here in our herb garden area. And the one over here, we got some weeds around it. We need to weed it. But the sage plant's doing okay. It's not doing awesome, but it's doing okay. It's not getting quite the routine watering that the rest of the herbs are getting, so it didn't grow as much as we thought, but still getting a ton of sage off of it. And as we come over here to the beds here, we did clear out some things. We have some chives over here that just kept on bolting and bolting and bolting no matter what we did. So we just took them out. We're going to replant them here next year. We had a dill plant that kind of died out. We're going to replant some of that. And this right here is called Burnett. The only way I can think of it, it's kind of like a parsley, but it tastes like cucumber. We haven't really tried to dry it, so we don't know if we're going to grow this next year. It's kind of an experiment, but it looks pretty, and it does taste good in a salad. And then if you come over here, basil for days. And Marcy's actually trimmed this back multiple times. She went to town on this about a week and a half ago and cut it hugely, and it's just coming back just like crazy. So we're gonna have to trim some of that up, make some more pesto or do something with it. But basil is growing like crazy. It's insane. And then of course we do have some oregano and some rosemary over here, and those are doing good. And what else is over there? And there's a little bit of thyme over there, but again, they're all getting overshadowed by the basil. So I think next year in this bed, we're not going to grow this one plant. We'll just leave it with just one and just go with that because it's big enough and supply us with all the basil we need. And then over here is the mint. As you can see, we cut a huge area out here of the chocolate mint, and Marcy dried a whole bunch of that. And then of course the lemon balm mint over here is doing really, really well. And then here's some spearmint, but these things are just invasive and they try to go everywhere. So we really have to try to keep these things cut down. And now over here we have our little pollinator garden. Still got some pretty flowers on it. To be honest, I don't know what these are called, other than I know these are called bat face because they have the little flowers look like little bats. But other than that, I don't know what they're called. But ton of bees, ton of butterflies are on here all throughout the summer. Still see them today. And it's just pretty to look at. This is kind of an experiment right here. I think maybe next year we may make a bigger bed and have some more just right up here close to the house because, hey, we like to have pretty things too. So this is our little bay plant. You guys remember back in July on one of our garden tours, I was weeding it over here and I cut this thing off to about right here. And we thought it may have killed the plant, but actually, as you can see, it's grown back and actually grew a couple stems, maybe a third one coming out. It's doing really, really well. Hopefully we'll get some and we'll take this thing in for the winter time because you can't sit out here, but hopefully we'll have some bay leaves all throughout winter. It's growing good, so it's a good thing. So now we're over here in our forest of tomatoes, which you guys know that we grew tomatoes and we arched them up over this cattle panel. And at this point, I don't know where tomatoes start and finish when it comes to plants because they're up and over and bending back and they're just out of control. And at this point, when I try to move them, the plants are kind of tender and they break, and I just don't want to mess with them. We have a lot of green fruit on here. It's still plenty warm for these guys to blush and to ripen. So hopefully all of these will ripen here in the next month before we get our first freeze in November. And like I said, we still have a lot of fruit, and some of them may actually put on some new fruit as we kind of work through this fall. But most of the plants look fairly healthy. There's a few of them that are kind of looking like they're trying to die out on us, but for the most part, they look really good. So here's our two last tomato plants here on the end of our middle section of our beds. They're kind of slowing down, but we still have some on there, and they're kind of intermixed here with our dying cucumbers. We just haven't had a chance to kind of tear down the plants on them, but the cucumbers have exhausted their life. We have got a ton of cucumbers this year. We have pickled a ton, made a ton of, relish. I mean, I think we've made maybe 5 or 6 flats of pickles and relish all together. So we have plenty of that for the year. But again, these are going to go away, and we'll replant these, and we'll talk about what we're going to replant in our fall section. But soon this will all be cleared out and these beds will be remade for fall. Now, one part of this summer garden that's still going strong is our pepper. So this is a bell pepper plant. There's actually like 4 of them in here. And these guys are going crazy. I think I probably picked 15 pounds of peppers today, it seems like. But as you can tell, they are going really strong. And now the plants are getting a little bit tender. We had a couple storms roll through this last couple weeks, and they're getting so tall, they kind of broke off some branches. But even over here with our banana peppers, as you can see, we still have some on there. They're small. I picked a whole bunch of them earlier today so we could preserve those. We just cut them in half, froze them, and then we'll use them sometime in the winter time. But we still have plenty of them in here to pick as we go along if we want to eat some for fresh salads or whatever. Some more bell peppers. Like I said, these plants are getting kind of, as you can see, they're all kind of growing a little wonky here. I think one thing we need to do next year is get bigger cages. We just never experienced peppers growing this tall last year, so definitely going to be a remake for next year on getting taller cages so we can kind of strap them up and make them grow a little bit taller. Now this is our nanopino bed, and this thing has been really, really good for us. This is the first year we've grown these things, and they've done really well. We've got a ton of jalapeno peppers out of here, or nanopinos. They're the non-spicy variety, but we've made salsa, we've made all kinds of stuff with these little peppers, and they are fantastic. They taste good, and they're not super hot. And this is kind of our hodgepodge of peppers. We have some bell peppers over here. We got some banana peppers over here. And as you can see, we still have fruit on there. But they're definitely coming probably to their end here in the next probably 3 weeks. But until then, we're gonna keep getting peppers and just enjoy them while we can, because I think one thing that we've learned, that these raised little self-wicking tubs are awesome for growing peppers. All right, so we're down here in our 2 last of our large beds. Remember, this had lettuce in it earlier in the season. This had some squash and zucchini. All that stuff is gone. Now, this soil was prepped, and we planted some lettuce and some spinach in here. And hopefully that's going to start germinating and pop up here in the next week. And we're going to put some kind of a low tunnel top for this one and see how long we can actually keep growing lettuce this winter. So that's going to be a project coming up here probably in the next month to get that finished up. And this bed over here, it does have some herbs and whatever flower this is, but this is lavender. But in this bed here, did the same thing, prep the soil, and this has beets in it. So last year we tried to grow beets. They didn't do very well. So this year we planted the whole thing with beets, because that's all we had really that we wanted to plant in here. And we'll see how it goes and see if we can get some beets out of here. We've heard they've, we're not huge beet eaters, but we've been told that they're awesome when you grow them yourself. You can use the leaves for things, you can use the beets for things. So we're gonna give it a try and see what happens. So in this bed right here, what we're gonna do with fall, so we're gonna take this cattle panel down. We had to put this on here because of the acorn squash, or the butternut squash is what it was. It was a climber. We didn't realize that when we planted it. So we had to kind of put something up temporarily. We'll take that down. We'll clear this bed completely out, redo the soil, kind of fluff it up, make sure that it looks good. And then we're gonna put some radishes in here, and we'll probably grow 2 or 3 different cycles of radishes just in time for our onions to come late November, somewhere around in there. And we'll plant onions in here, and we've already ordered some garlic, which will go in the next bed over there once we get that cleared out. They've already been ordered, but they won't ship until probably the 1st of next month. So we'll plant those, plant the onions, and then that will probably be all that we're going to do in the fall garden. To this point, we may plant some strawberries and overwinter them. We'll see what we can get a hold of and see if we can get them. We may have to plant those in spring. Getting seeds and different plants right now are pretty tough, so I know we've struggled trying to get some of those online, and we'll just have to kind of see what we can get. So if you guys know of any good places out there to get some strawberries, let me know. I'd really appreciate it. Put them down in the comments. So let me know what you guys are planting in your fall garden. Are you guys excited about fall gardening? You know, one of the best things about fall gardening is you don't have some of the bug pressures, you don't have some of the heat issues. Now, depending on how far north you live, you may have cold issues, and you may not be able to grow too much of a fall garden. We live here in central Oklahoma. We're in the growing zone of 7B. So for the most part, we have until about the 1st or the middle of November until we have our first real frost. So last year was a little different. Hopefully this year, we're not gonna have that issue. So that's what we're hoping for. And we're gonna have a good fall garden. But hey, leave some comments down below. Let us know what you're growing. We'd love to hear from you. Hey, if you haven't subscribed to our channel, while you're down there, you can hit that subscribe button, ring that bell so you get notified every time a video comes out. And of course, if you haven't seen us on Facebook or Instagram, those links are down below. We always kind of keep an updated thing of what's going on around the homestead. It may not be gardening, it may be animals. Never know what it's going to be. But check us out. We'd really appreciate it. Thanks for coming back, watching our video all the way to the end. We really do appreciate those folks that do that. Give us a thumbs up, and we'll see you on the next video from our homestead to yours. See you later. Bye.